Oh, okay. Perfect. I also started it as well. So people should be joining now. Can you hear me? On the call itself? Okay, perfect. Tom, I love the setup, bro. Holy crap. I love your setup. Let me see. All right. Can I make you? So that means you can join whenever. Do people get the notification as well? People get the notification as well? Yeah. Oh, that's sick. Yeah. Okay, John got a notification. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Sounds good, Tom. Thank you. Peace. All right, fellas. We're just waiting for more people to trickle in, and then we can start with the build. It's gonna be a nice one. I think this might be the biggest build that I've made so far, but yeah, at least for webinars and the webinar's sake. Oh, so Tom, yeah, they seem to have gotten a notification an hour ago. All right, yes. So we're gonna wait like 3 to 4 minutes pass, so that way we could get more people trickling in, and then yeah, we can begin with everything. All right. Let's see. All right. For those of you who are joining, we're just gonna wait a couple more minutes, so that way more people can join, and then they don't miss out. Welcome in. Welcome in. All right, for those of you who are joining, just know this call will also be recorded. So in case you miss anything or have any doubts, you will be able to look back at the call. So no problem with that whatsoever. But if you have any questions, let me know. Before we begin also, I want to go ahead and share the documentation that I made for this call so that way you have it. So we're just waiting a couple more minutes to have everybody join. Tom, there's no way to pin a message, right? Not yet, at least. Because that would be cool. That'd be a cool addition. Yep, gotcha, Petus. Okay, fellas, one more minute, and then we're going to get started with everything. Just want to make sure that everyone gets to see all of it. It's going to be a lot of talking, so go drink the water. Okay. Okay, fellas, I'm going to start it up right now. So, perfect. Essentially, what I mentioned in the beginning of the call as well, this could easily be one of the biggest builds that I've made for Synthflow for one of these webinars. So far, I believe this is the 4th webinar that I've hosted with Synthflow. So I'm super excited about that. Super stoked to have you guys in here. I feel let's make this a good one, of course. And yeah, let's get started with it. So today I'm essentially going to be teaching you guys how to build an AI recruiter for job applicants in GoHighLevel. So everything is basically going to be based off of Synthflow as well as GoHighLevel. So you guys have absolutely everything that you need in order to be able to make this yourself, right? I basically made the entire build beforehand. So I'm not genuinely going to be making every single step of the way, because if not, we'd be here for hours. But I made it as simple as possible for you guys to understand. And of course, I want to make sure that you guys are able to use this as well. So if it comes down to it, you guys have the prompting for yourself as well, which I included in the chat, and you guys need to make sure to click on that as well. And then I also make sure to create a potential snapshot, so that way whenever you guys are looking to implement this for any job applicants or anything like that, you could just go ahead and DM me either through the Academy or on Discord. I actually need to leave my Discord down in the description real quick so you guys have it. But you also have access to that. So it's super simple, super seamless to do, and very easy to follow. So let me go ahead and put this in full screen. And before I start with everything, I want to make sure that you guys can see my screen. So if you guys could give me like a thumbs up or just let me know in the chat, that'd be perfect. All right, perfect. Thank you, Joshua. Okay, so all these tabs essentially go over everything that we need to go through. But let this refresh, first of all. Cool. All right, so as you guys may already know, right, there is a video out there that shows you how to integrate the Synthflow dashboard and everything that you need over to GoHighLevel, so that way it's simple to integrate both of the two, and you're able to, book in meetings, do all the stuff that you can do within GoHighLevel while using Synthflow as well. So in order to be able to do this, that would be step number 1. The first thing that you're going to want to do is go over to your GoHighLevel account as in the agency view. And then you're going to go over to App Marketplace right here, as you can see. And then within all apps, you're going to search up Synthflow. And then you're just going to go and click on this. And of course, install it. This is for the people that might not know, right, every step of the way. So just in case, I make sure to include it in every single webinar. So that way it's easy to follow. But let's go ahead and unpin that and delete. So now the first steps, right? Whenever you're creating a new build itself, you always want to make sure that you go ahead and start with the assistant itself, because the assistant is what is going to lead the automation, right? There's always 3 steps to it. You create the assistant, you do the automation, and then if you really need to and do API integrations, you will do the integration, right? So step number 1, you go ahead and you select the voices. Now, as I always mention, there are accents to the voices, and a lot of people do not know this and do not utilize this, and it's super important and crucial that you do so, because it's going to create such a different experience for those who obviously are making outbound calls or inbound calls. So the first thing you're going to want to do, I personally use Anna Brazilian 11 Labs because it is the easiest and the best. Hold on, let me do the microphone. There you go. And in order to get her, right, you're going to go over to Portuguese Brazil, and then it's going to select the voices for you. Now, from the voices, you're just going to go ahead and choose Anna Brazilian. So as you can see right here, it's already selected on here. And then you're just going to go back into English General and then just click out. Now you have Anna Brazilian. Now she basically has a Brazilian, kind of like a Spanish Brazilian type of accent that makes it sound more realistic while on calls. Right? Then, of course, for the GPT model, you're going to select 4.0. Now, for the advanced settings, I usually like to have these advanced settings to have the make sure to mute your mic if possible, please. All right, there you go. Okay, perfect. So let me go ahead and update this. Essentially, for the advanced settings, this is literally what makes or breaks your entire AI. Why? Because it's how believable your AI truly is. And you need to know how to play around with the advanced settings in order to, optimize performance, essentially. Now, what I usually do is I put it up to 2 latency. The stability, and obviously this depends per voice. The stability, I put it at 0.4. And then the style exaggeration, I put it at 0.1. And then the similarity, I put it at 0.70. While speaker boost remains off, limit call duration obviously off. And then I made sure to increase this to 8 seconds, just to obviously have that reminder of like, hey, are you still here? Do you have any questions? You don't want her to be saying that like whenever someone's thinking or anything like that. So you give them 8 seconds to reply, so that way the AI doesn't interrupt them in any way. Then for here, I just make sure to go ahead and have her talk fast. And then initial before speaking, I just put this at 1 second every time. So super easy, super seamless to do. Very easy. And there also is the new update that they implemented, which is, the Cartesia voices as well as the Office. I personally recommend that you guys use the Cafe one because it makes it sound super realistic. However, in this case, I didn't really implement the 2.0 on my build. Now, this is the first thing that it says. Hello, is this Maria from Prime Build Construction? May I speak with name, please? Now, it says construction because I'm making this job applicant recruiting build off of like a normal construction application, job application that people can just fill in, right? And then receive the follow-ups with everything. Now, after that, you're going to go over to the prompting. Now, for the prompting, I go everything that you essentially need to do within a screening. So we'll go over it in just a sec, right? I'm going to put this in full screen. Now, as you may already know, I like to format my prompts in a specific way. I usually use hashtags in front because, for those of you who don't know, hashtags are essentially a header, subheader, and a subtitle for the format for the assistant. GPT already does that themselves and kind of looks a little bit like this, so you guys can see. So this is what they would see on their end, right? This is one hashtag, this is two hashtags, and this is three hashtags. You see how they get bigger, medium size, and then smaller? That is literally why we add those hashtags on here. Now, in this case, I didn't really add them just because I wanted to explain to you guys why you need them. But you need to have those in order for the AI to understand it way simpler, because it gets the sections and everything that you need on there. So essentially, I tell the AI who they are, right? So you're Maria, the virtual assistant for Prime Build Construction, a leading construction company specializing in commercial and residential projects. Your role is to screen job applicants, ensuring they meet the qualifications for the position of construction site supervisor. Now, the goal for the job is to screen the applicant by asking them a series of predetermined questions based on their application. If they meet the criteria, you will book them for a follow-up call with a general manager. Ensure all details are captured accurately and that the conversation remains professional and efficient. So that is the goal for the call. It's super easy for the AI to understand it that way. And then essentially, I give it an introduction. So that's the custom greeting that we talked about earlier. And then once they confirm their identity, it basically just goes through the call actions. It's super simple. But this is the part that I want to talk about, the applicant screening. So with the applicant screening, it's basically going to screen them with some of the questions that they filled in for the application here that I'm going to go over in just a second. But it goes over the information and it basically asks them specific questions on what they would do in the job. Now, this completely varies on what type of job you're trying to get these recruiters for. But in this case, right, we're just asking them simple supervision. What would you do this in this situation? What would you do that in that situation? So that's what I essentially did with the AI. And then it goes over team leadership. It handles safety compliance. Like, how do you handle that? Experience with site supervision. And then it basically, after asking those questions, it evaluates criteria. And then it assesses their answers, further giving the AI a sense of hey, this guy's actually capable of doing this job, or he's qualified of doing this job. Essentially, like I mentioned, it varies. However you want to qualify somebody is how you would go about it. But in this case, I pretty much just made it super simple. Now, if they are qualified, right? So if the applicant meets the criteria, I will say something like, thank you for sharing your experience name. Based on your conversation, we'd like to move you forward to the next step, which is a follow-up call with our general manager. Let me check the calendar for available times, etc., etc. And then it goes and it books them into a meeting with the general manager, which is why you need to connect GoHighLevel onto this, right? So if the applicant has any additional questions, the AI also makes sure to ask, hey, do you have any additional questions before we wrap up? If the person does, perfect. The AI is going to go ahead and address those questions. But if they don't, then we're going to go ahead and lean into the closing. So if the applicant has no further questions, end the call in a positive note. Say something like, great, we're looking forward to speaking with you again. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful day. Now, that's what happens, right? And if you guys want to add more applicant info right here, you can do that with variables. So I let you guys do that as well. So that's essentially what happens within the call itself. Now, what are some of the actions that we want to pull in from the call to make the automation successful? So I made a couple of things, right? So first of all, in order to be able to book the call, we need to have a call to book too, right? We need to have a calendar. So that's why you connect GoHighLevel over to Synthflow, which is super seamless and easy to do. Just got to go ahead and press add right here. and then you will see a GoHighLevel calendar pop up, and then you're going to connect your GoHighLevel, and then essentially you'll be able to collect the correct calendar for yourself. These are the settings that I like to have within my calendars, because I only like to offer 2 dates. I like to offer 2 appointment slots per day, and then 2 intervals between slots. That way it's super seamless, but it gives them 2 options, right, to choose from. Now, from there on out, select your time zone, and then some of the guys are going to ask me this. You can't really include variables yet into the calendar event title, but you will be able to in further updates, right, from Synthflow. So let's go ahead and have that. So that's going to book them into the meeting for the follow-up call. And then this is the most important part right here. What information do we need to extract from the call in order to actually go over the entire automation itself, right? So essentially right here, we are asking for scheduling. So was the follow-up call successfully scheduled? That is the main thing. And then the second main thing is going to be the applicant fit. Was the user a fit for the company? The AI will determine that and extract that. Obviously, you can give it some recommendations like, hey, if they don't pass this, if they don't make this fit, then obviously they're not a fit for the company. But you could make that in the prompt however you'd like. Now, you gotta refresh. It's good that they're making these constant updates as well, because we know things are being worked on. Now, once this loads up, I'll go into motivation check, follow-up required, and etc. But the reason for these info extractors, just to make you guys understand a little bit better, is the paths, right? The if-else conditions that we're going to be going over within the GoHighLevel automation. Now, for example, if someone's an applicant fit, there will be an if-else that says, hey, are they a fit or not? Then it's going to lead them down to their separate paths, further allowing you to determine whatever you want to do whenever they're a fit or not. So that's why we have those. Now, for motivation check, this is just preference. I check if they express strong motivation for the role. In my case, this is like relatively important. So I wanted to make sure to include that in here. And then another one is, do they require a follow-up from the general manager? This is if they book a meeting or not. And then, of course, certifications. So did the user confirm they have the necessary certifications for the job? And so on and so forth. So before I move on forward, I want to make sure that you guys don't have, I address all the questions if possible. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Let's go over the questions. Yeah. Okay. So I'm Peru. Can I use Peruvian numbers? What kind of options I have in my scenario? So I believe that may be something in the enterprise plan, like was mentioned by Lewis, but I'm not going to give you like a solid answer on that because I'm not entirely sure because I haven't set up Peruvian numbers. But you could easily ask in the main channel for Albert or Alex, and they could definitely help you out with that question. Okay, so moving on to Sheila, is it possible to integrate with other platforms alternative to GoHighLevel? You can integrate with anything you want, Sheila. I've made this with Zapier. I've made this with Make. I've made this with Nate. I don't even know how to spell that. But N8N. I've made this with so many things. It's GoHighLevel was just the easiest in my opinion, but easily you could use this with many other platforms. Infinity, literally. Will a Calendly natural integration be possible in the future? Yeah, the Calendly natural integration, I believe, is already implemented. So you could easily go in. I'll show you right now. So I want to do this with another assistant. Okay, I'll show you right now. So essentially, if you go right here, the new action, and then you create, you can see, I mean, cal.com is already implemented on here. So you could easily implement that as you will. Let me go back to the recruitment AI. So that's already done. That should be good. Hopefully that answers your question, Lewis. And are you going to share that template or the call recording to help us with the implementation? Yes, of course. The call recording will be shared. The template you'll have to hit me up for. But the call recording is definitely going to be something that will be shared within the main server, as well as the documentation that I shared in the beginning of the call that you guys can scroll up and find. So where's the extracted data stored in GoHighLevel? Yeah, so the extracted data is going to be going into the automation itself. And then after the automation, you're easily going to be having those information, like the information filled out within custom fields that you could use for yourself, or like, they're basically just going to be added into a contact in GoHighLevel. So a contact will be created. I want to use a CRM and other tools, so I want to integrate it with Nate and maybe Matic. Yeah, you could definitely integrate it with Nate. I've used it before, and then yeah, it's relatively easy to do that as well. You just need to make sure you use webhooks, like inbound webhooks, outbound webhooks, and then other than that, it should be good. And then yeah, then of course you can white label this for sure. Like this is this right here, Visionaire. That's my brand. That's my company. So it's already white labeled. You could easily white label this yourself with I believe it's the agency plan. So yeah, you can do that. Say something about a snapshot being available. The snapshot will be available if you hit me up in a DM via Discord, and then I'll address that. Just want to make sure that, it benefits everybody. I don't want to just give it out there just because at the moment, but if you DM me, we could definitely talk about getting that done. So the exciting part, fellas, let's go into the automation. All right. That is the 30-day trial covers every plan. So let's go ahead and go over this. First things first. For the job application, as you guys already know, there's going to be a form that someone needs to fill out. Now you could easily make this form via GoHighLevel, which is what I did, and it's really easy to do. Like all you really need to do is go into sites. I'll show you guys the whole process. You need to go into sites, and then from sites you go into builder, and then you add a form, and then you build your own form, right? And name it whatever you like, add the information that you'd want to have for the job application, so on and so forth. Really easy to do. All this information will be stored. Now I want to talk about that a little bit right now, because I asked them for their resume, summary, availability. I'll show you guys here. It's a little bit unique. Yeah, availability immediately, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, other. Desired salary, certifications, experience, skills, motivation for applying, additional information, and then of course I ask for consent, and you need to make sure to include AI calls in the consent right here, because you want to make this legal at always legal. So now, how do you add these custom variables? Because you need to be able to add these as a custom field, right? So in order to be able to do that, you could either go right here, add form to element, and then create the custom fields yourself. But an easier way to do it is going over to settings on this side. And then right here, you're going to see custom fields. And then from here on out, it's essentially just adding a field for your specific folder that you will create. In this case, I created recruitment, right? So super simple to do. Another thing that you guys have to do is add call ID, call recording, and call transcript. So those fields, you need to make sure to add them. And then these are all the fields that I added for my my build. So make sure to add these as well. Super simple to do. And then Yeah, this is the information that you would need. Now, once you do that, I can go ahead and unpin this. Actually, I'll keep it in just for the opportunities. Now, remove this. This is the interesting part. What is going to happen in the first step, right? So whenever somebody submits their form, right, the form that I just showed you guys, essentially it's going to grab that information, grab that data. It's going to ask, and this is what it looks like, right? I want to make sure to show you guys everything. But the form is, and then the form that we filled out. Then after that, it's going to send you a notification telling you, hey, contact name submitted the form application, the job application. And then it's going to go over that information. And then here is a very important part. If they included do not disturb, you want to make sure to check the do not disturb because you might have called them before or not. Always check the do not disturb just in case. Also, I'll show you guys how to set that up. Now, here, essentially what's happening is it's checking whether they have do not disturb enabled or not. And if they don't have it enabled, then you could easily make the call. If they do, it's not going to do anything. Right? It's not going to make the call. So what happens here, right? Let's go over the little notes, which right here. Now here, this is going to activate the call from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. to make sure that we stay in standards. You guys could do it from 9 to 5, however you'd like. But I just did it from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Super, super accommodatable. Now, this is basically to have a time delay and you call them during business hours. You do not want to call these guys at 2 a.m. talking about their screening, blah, blah. They're going to be dead, asleep. You know what I mean? So you want to make sure to do that. Also, beforehand, if you guys want, you could add a wait time up here because obviously some people may not want to call them immediately after the job was submitted. Making it seem a little less realistic, of course. So right here, after that, you will receive, you will make a phone call. Now, in order to be able to make a phone call, this is going to be the action name. You just add a new action. The action name is going to be make a phone call. And then from there on out, you connect the model IDs and the API keys. Now, how do we do that, right? How do we go ahead and connect those? As you can see right here, the model ID is stored for the recruitment. You could easily copy that and then paste it on here. And then you could copy this API key and then paste it in the API key tab. And then from there on out, super simple, super easy to do. Now, you want to make sure to add their phone number as a raw, as you can see right here, and then their first name. In order to do that, there's this little variable right here that allows you to add variables. So you can go over here to contact, and then first name, you just click on that, and then it'll appear, as you can see right there. Then you will do the same thing for the name. So these are the variables that connect over to your AI employee, right? So in order to be able to connect them, what you're going to be doing is, as you can see right here, it says name. What you need to do is type this in like that, and then plug that in to here as just name, right? And then for here, this is the value that will be replacing that variable within the call itself. So in this case, it's just going to be the first name of the contact that submitted the form for the job applicant. Then I make sure to add a tag, right, that says AI called, just to make sure that we know that the AI was able to call them successfully. And then from here on out, you may think, okay, so where do they go? Well, in reality, they can go to part 2 just because we have a webhook called an inbound webhook that will gather the data from the call. So this call basically makes a call, and then whether they answer, whether they don't answer, voicemail, whatever it is, it's going to gather that information in here. Now from here on out, right, this is what it's going to look like. You want to make sure to connect this URL right here over to the deployment side right here. And then you're just going to press initialize on there. Okay. Now, from there on out, you're going to map the reference. Super simple to do. All you need to do is click on this and it's going to show you the references. You select one and that's it. So once you map the reference, now you will be able to have the info extractors, right, that occur during the call. So once you set this up, once you set up the mapping reference, you're going to want to make sure to call it one more time, right? And then once you call it one more time, you're going to see that a new one will appear. Let's say, for example, was this one, right? So I click on it and then I save the trigger. Now I will have all the info extractors that I firstly generated right here. Okay. Now, essentially, once that happens, now you're going to be able to use the call outcomes right here, which is the if else condition, so on and so forth. But first thing, what we're going to want to do is find the contact. Now, how did they get here? Just a brief summary, right? How did they get here? First off, we made the call, right? Which is post action. Now, literally everything that's happening is just, this is gathering the call information. That's it. How is it gathering the call information? Because of the deployment webhook that we connected to it. That's it. That's all it is. Super simple. Now you're going to find the contact. You're going to find the contact from the webhook .number right here. And then from there on out, you're just going to go ahead and save the action. You're going to update the contact field with all of the information that was in the job post itself. The job application. And then you want to make sure to include the call ID, the call recording, the call transcript, so on and so forth. You want to make sure to include those just to have them on there in hand, right? Now, essentially, after that, you're going to want to assign this to a user. Whoever is the one managing this, they're going to be assigned to this job applicant or however. In this case, I just put myself, right? And then from here on out, you want to go into the call outcomes. Now, this is where some of you guys may start to get confused, but it's relatively simple. We're just determining how this is going to, like, the information that we're gathering from the data. We're determining the status, right? So in here, just to show you guys, right? The status is like, if they answered, the status in Synthflow is going to be completed. Now, how does this look like? If you go over here to calls, I'm sure you guys have all seen this. It's going to say completed, okay? This is what we're matching. That's all it is. Completed, completed. Now, it'll do one for failed. It'll do one for no answer, which, by the way, keep in mind, this is how you have to write them. Don't write them any other way. Just make sure to write them like this. And then hang up on voicemail. And then from here on out, when this changes, is the do not disturb. So it also checks if they had do not disturb enabled, as well as the tag enabled, which I'll get to in just a second. But from when it does that, now it goes and adds them into their specific branch. Hold on. Water break. Okay, so before I follow on with this, I want to make sure that, actually, you know what? I'll finish this automation right here, and then I'll go over questions as well, because I see there's a couple already. Okay, so if it's do not disturb, right? If they fall during the do not disturb tag, you want to make sure that you enable do not disturb, so that way we have that. And then we also want to make sure to add that on here, right? But we'll do that later on. Either way, make sure to add this, right? So it's going to enable this channel, and then it's also going to add a tag that says do not disturb. And then from here on out, if they hung up on voicemail, you want to make sure to add it in the pipeline. So what is this pipeline? Okay. How do we get to this pipeline? How does this pipeline work? Why do we need this pipeline? You're going to go over to opportunities, and in the pipeline, you're going to see recruitment CRM. Now, I want you guys to make this CRM as so, because it's going to meet the info extractors and the information that those bring and add them onto here accordingly, right? So I added if they fit the company criteria, and they booked the follow-up call if they fit the company criteria, and then they didn't book a follow-up call, and then didn't meet criteria and didn't answer, call failed, hang-ups, voicemail. It's essentially going to add it onto a simple pipeline that you could take care of, right? And super seamless and easy to follow. So for example, right here, you can move me as an example. Super easy. So if I go over to here and you go ahead and create an opportunity, you're going to add me into the voicemail stage if I hung up on voicemail, right? And you're just going to copy everything that I do right here. Add me in as a job applicant AI call, and then status remain that as open. And then make sure to click this on to allow opportunity to move to any previous stage in the pipeline, because we know that someone's not going to submit a job application twice. That would make no sense. Then do literally a copy and paste and put it on here as a didn't answer if they didn't answer the phone call. Put it as call failed if the call failed in the pipeline stage. And then there's another one that is going to be answered. Now, this is a little bit different, right? If they answered, make sure to add a tag that says AI call answered. And then further improving, this is obviously a preference, but if they need verifying, if you're doing a lot of verifying for your calls, you want to make sure that you improve in the quality, which I do with my calls. You want to make sure that you add AI calls needs verification, okay? Because this will basically allow you to go into the contact section and add this tag so that way you can go over all the calls that you need to verify. That's all it is. Now, call intent outcome. Now, this is where it gets interesting, right? What is this applicant fit? How are we getting this information? Essentially, all you're doing is going over here into the info extractors that we made over here. And then as you can see, applicant fit would be, I believe, this one. And then you add that on there, and then you mark it as true. If the applicant was a fit, it's going to be true. If they weren't a fit, it's going to be false, right? So we're basically splitting them up into, hey, they fit the criteria, or hey, they didn't fit the criteria, and spreading them onto their appropriate branches. Now, if you cancel it, right, you go over here. If they didn't fit the criteria, you're basically going to add them into the same CRM. And then from here on out, you're going to include them into the didn't meet criteria stage. However, if they met the criteria and they booked a call, we want to make sure to announce that and have that go through, right? So one thing as well. Actually, you know what? No, that's fine. All right, so this is what it's going to look like, right? Now it's going to determine whether they booked a call. So I did the same. You would do the same thing, right? In the executed actions, you would find scheduling availability, and then this is if they booked a follow-up call or not. So same thing. If they booked a follow-up call, it would be true. If they didn't, it would be false, right? So save that. And from here on out, it's going to add them into their appropriate stages within the pipeline, right? Now I will I will answer some of the questions that you guys may have, so that way I can not get too far out on this. Okay. I want to use it to call us help desk. Open a ticket with Synthflow and service desk plus integration with the review number. Now, this might honestly include an API integration, so you would have to look into this one. If you want, you could DM me about this, and I could help you out. I do have a team that deals with API integrations, so they could definitely give you a good analysis on what it is essentially. So for white label, what is 10,000 sub accounts? Is that for Ken? Okay, that's just a general question. Okay, cool. That was answered. Is there any other alternative other than Twilio that works fine for local phone numbers? Yeah, that's just like a transfer you need to do for VoIP. These forms are just like the GoHighLevel forms. So super simple to do, super simple to make. Oh, does it bring me down? Okay. No, I don't think you can't create forms within Synthflow, but essentially, I mean, with an info extractor, it's kind of the same thing in reality. But let's see. Reporting. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that? Are you talking about like the reporting for like the job applicant, or could you elaborate a little bit on that, Daniel?
Absolutely. So let's say I'm a hiring manager, I'm the director of, or VP of talent acquisition, and I want to see how successful, time to fill ratios, how many candidates have applied, how many do go on to first rounds, second rounds, third rounds, where do they fall off,
Mm-hmm.
those things.
Oh, 100%, bro. So if I were to give you an example of how that would look like, obviously, what I made this build just for the webinar, so it's not like super intricate and not like very tailored to a specific company. However, if you were to have said that to me like in the like before I made this build, essentially, I could have easily made like an opportunities tab right here in the CRM that collects all the information that you need. If they're on stage 1, 2, 3, whatever you'd like, would be that would be integrated within Synthflow as well as GoHighLevel for the caller using info extractors, further allowing me to put them into the correct pipeline stage. Right. So here, this is not something that you move manually. This is something that's moved within the automation itself. So if a company fits a criteria right here, just like I showed you just a second ago, they will literally be added. Like if I make the call, it will literally add me on here. Okay. And if I didn't fit the criteria without any follow-up call booked, it will put me on here. Right. This is the same thing. So if you were making follow-up calls with, let's say, the AI, right? You would easily be able to integrate the AI with this pipeline, allowing you to see all the data and everything. But if you want further data as well, there's going to be a dashboard on here that shows you everything that you need to know about the lead. So if I go over here to recruitment CRM, as you can see, it'll go over, the didn't answer, didn't meet criteria, fit company criteria, hangups, some voicemail, so on and so forth. And then, of course, the stage distribution for the recruitment CRM. You'll be able to see that as well in here. That's why I personally like this. And then not only that, you'll also be able to have tasks, which is why I'm going to be going over how to include tasks within here. So that way, whenever you need to follow up with somebody or a potential job applicant, you will be able to do that within here. And it's super simple, super seamless. Well, maybe not super simple, but yeah, hopefully that answers your question, my man.
Is there a way where we can send a report to hiring managers, let's say on Fridays at the end of the day for the weekly reports?
Yeah, 100%, man. Because you would basically have potential to send emails out. That's what these internal notifications are for right here. Wait, where did I add them?
Right. But could you show me that process, what that looks like? How would you send a report to, I mean, not even an automation. I mean, if you're doing it manually, what would that look like? Obviously, we want to be getting it automated, but for demonstration purposes, what does that look like if you were to manually send a report of the activities done for a particular hiring process?
Yeah, of course. So if you were to send a report over to, let's say, a specific job applicant, you want to make sure to automate this with GPT.
Or
So,
sorry,
yep.
the send it over to the hiring manager, not the applicant. That the
Yeah, yeah,
manager.
yeah. So you would gather the information from everything that the applicant went towards, like all the calls that it had for like the AI and everything, and it would gather all that information, right, using a GPT, which you could add right here, and then it would summarize the entire thing, including the call transcript, the call summary, everything that you need, and then from there on out, you could send over an email that would pretty much summarize the entire altercation, like the entire route that this job applicant took, right, for your manager. Does that make sense then?
It does, but what if it was just a general overview of the week of like how was the activities? What did the recruiter do for the week?
Yeah. So what I would do on that end, if it was like a whole overview and like kind of like how would I say it?
mean,
an analysis essentially for the week, you would basically have the same process, but it would send the information over to let's say a Word document or whatever you'd like. And then from there on out, it would build out that report. And then you would have another automation that would have a weekly set time to send that Google Doc or whatever it is, right, to your manager at the end of every single week. Would that make sense?
It does. And I'm just reading Joshua's answer here. So there's a go to call reporting agent report. Okay. Don't know where that is. I'm on GoHighLevel, but I'll look for that unless we could find it right now. But appreciate the answer, Josh, as well as you.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Thank you.
100%. All right, let's follow on with the rest of the questions as well. Let's see. Okay. How exactly did you make it legal? What countries is for? So essentially, these job applicants will be consenting to receive these AI calls, right? So whenever they submit the job application, which I wish I didn't. Let me see if I can bring it back up. There it is. Right here, they're consenting to receiving these AI calls, Maximilian. So they will be able to receive them, right? If you want to make it even more legal, right, you want to make sure that they consent to being recorded in the call. But if they're not, then you could cancel the recording. But either way, if they already consented it, you could also include that in the form, like, hey, you're going to be recorded on these calls, essentially, so on and so forth. So, by the way, can this be configured with the directly? Not entirely sure what you mean, Lewis. I might need more information on that. What dialer are you specifically talking about? Did we go over AI automated resume screening yet? Yes, we did. But the meeting is recorded, so you will be able to have that. Now, yep, I got you, Yo. I hope I didn't say that wrong. Wrong. But yes, there will be a recording of this, Daniel. Is there a limit for workflows for agency plan users? There is a limit, but I believe it was a very high limit. So you should be fine. But if you're basically using this via GoHighLevel, then you should be good as well. Lewis, how much? This is impressive. Appreciate it, man. How much time did it take for you to build that up? Well, I've been making builds for a very long time for this, especially Synthflow and GoHighLevel builds. So it took me, I think, an hour and a half to build everything that I'm showing you guys today. So I got that done. But yeah, so also what led you to use GoHighLevel instead of other CRMs, tech stacks, etc.? I use GoHighLevel because I have a background on GoHighLevel, so it's easy for me to understand it, and I know every single automation that's probably possible within GoHighLevel. So it's just easier for me to just plug it in here, play. Of course, everything's super organized with the dashboards and everything, so it's just easy for me to follow. That's why I really like it. So that's hopefully that answers your question, Lewis. In the beginning, I followed what you were doing, but as we got into the workflow, I could not follow. Is there a way to have a session where it is a step-by-step walkthrough of setting this up? Let's see here. Okay, yeah. So, Alan, you can DM me after this if you'd like, and then I could help you out. I always like to help, so that should be good. Hopefully that answers your question. And then lastly, how many clients do you have running currently, and how much are you charging them for the setup fee and maintenance fee? I like to keep that to myself a little bit. I wouldn't mind sharing that like in DMs, but when there's 33 people watching, it's kind of like weird. But yeah, you can DM me about that. So how does the charge work in relation to the number of minutes used? I'm thinking one group will have a long interview process, the other one will have a shorter process. Let's check the replies as well. You could make this for a full interview, and you would charge per minute, obviously, but this is just a simple screening like JD mentioned. So this question, yep. For those who don't know what he's doing, wait. He's using GoHighLevel with the AI voice. Synthflow. I also explained that in the beginning of the call as well, but like I mentioned, you will have a call recording. So the workflow is part of Synthflow, essentially. Okay, I'll go over the rest of the questions later on, but let's go ahead and finish the build. All right. So going back to this, we left off right here. Okay. So whenever someone gets added into the opportunity itself, now what we want to do is gather the information, right? So if someone booked in a meeting, what will happen, right? So obviously, you must have already had a calendar by this point within your GoHighLevel automation. Sorry, your GoHighLevel account, which would be connected onto this trigger. So in this case, we're just putting it in my calendar, right? Kevin Campos. And then from here on out, it's going to trigger it, and it's going to gather that contact from that calendar. Now, what's going to happen, right? So it's going to give me, this is literally like an entire follow-up automation that you could include in your builds, in any single build that you have. This will literally trigger after every single appointment that you set, no matter what it is. And it's literally just going to have an AI call me and say, hey, are you still good for our call tomorrow at this time? Or are you still good for our call tomorrow? You know, just kind of like a general one as well. It can be put into like a more intricate automation and build, but as simplicity goes, this is as simple as it can get, right? Appointment confirmation. Here, we're basically sending them an email confirming their entire appointment, right? And it'll give them the meeting link. It'll give them everything that they need. So this is what they're going to see, right? With variables included on there and everything all set up. Now, from here on out, you will be able to see the wait time. So as you can see, right, essentially we wait a day before the meeting to be able to send out an SMS, which also gives them the meeting link and cancellation link or whatever they want, as well as the appointment time. And then this is the cool part. It's going to call them, right, connected with the model ID, API key is everything, but it's going to call them to make sure that they are able to make it to the next meeting, right? So I made sure to include these variables as well. Name, contact first name, start time, appointment start time, event description. So like what the call is for, email, the contact email, so on and so forth. Everything is on here. And the email is there, so just in case they need to reschedule, the AI is also capable of rescheduling after that, and and canceling whatever you need. Then I go ahead and wait 1 hour before the meeting, and then I send them another an email, another internal notification for you, so you don't miss the appointment, and then an SMS right here for the whoever, the job applicant in this case. And then we wait 10 minutes before the call, also sending them an email, an internal notification for you, and then another SMS for them. Now, what happens after this, right? Because this goes on and on. This can go on for a lot of automations, but in this case, it's just 4. So now, keep in mind, whenever you see a yellow in an automation, this literally means that we need to gather the data, right? So we need to gather the data of this call now. Did they confirm the appointment? Did they want to reschedule, cancel, whatever you want to do? This is where you would do it. So right here, this is the appointment post call info extractor, where you're going to gather the information from the call that was made, and then it's essentially going to add them into their correct result, right? Call outcome, essentially. So right here, you do the same thing. You add this webhook over to your caller, and then map the reference like I taught you guys earlier. Find the contact, which is super simple. Like I mentioned, you're going to find them through the phone. And then from here on out, you're going to do the same thing I mentioned earlier, literally the same thing. So it's going to create an opportunity, blah, 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 do all that. And then this is the important part. You're going to add a condition, right, that also goes in and gathers the if the appointment was confirmed, canceled, or rescheduled. Okay? So there's only 3 outcomes to this. All right, so you'll be doing this with info extractors like I taught you guys as well. just make sure. And I believe this was already recorded as well with one of the webinars that I made. So you guys could also go ahead and watch that. There's no problem on that end. You'll have access to it. So that's cool. Now, I believe I've covered everything. Okay, one last thing, right? If they confirm the appointment, you will receive a notification saying they confirmed their appointment. Same thing goes here. If they canceled, if they rescheduled, and then it's going to add them into their specific pipeline as well, which the pipeline looks like this. There you go. You can copy this, as you say. But it's essentially grabbing all the information from the call and adding it onto the pipeline. Get some water. So now it's going to add them onto the pipeline as an opportunity. And then from here on out, it's going to send them another request if they obviously reschedule the appointment. It's going to send them, okay, here's a new appointment time. Okay? And then put them into the rescheduled pipeline. So that is what happens, fellas. That is the entire build. Hopefully you guys liked it. Of course, I would like to show you guys how it works as well. I don't know if we have enough time, though, in 3 minutes. I'll show you guys a call recording instead of one of the test calls that I made, so we could get it done pretty fast right here. But let's go over it. Let me know if you guys could hear this. I want to make sure that you guys are able to hear the... Actually, I'm just going to stop sharing and then share it again, because I don't think I included the audio. Okay. Let me know if you guys are able to hear this in the chat.
Hello, this is Maria from Prime Build Construction. May I speak with Kevin, please?
Yeah, this is Kevin.
Thank you for applying for the construction site supervisor position, Kevin. I'll be asking you a few questions to better understand your qualifications. This will help us determine if you're a good fit for the next step in our hiring process. Can you describe your experience managing construction sites? Specifically, how do you ensure projects are completed on time and within budget?
Yeah, I mean, I have extensive experience with construction builds, especially when it comes to apartment homes, right? And essentially, I want to make sure that every team that I'm leading is able to do their job. And not only that, they're also capable of, you know, adjusting.
Keep in mind, I know nothing about construction.
To a budget. But other than that, that should be good on that.
Thanks for sharing that, Kevin. How do you manage and enforce safety protocols on site to ensure compliance with OSHA standards?
Well, I don't work with anybody that isn't able to follow safety hazards, right? So we want to make sure that
I did fill the screening process.
Genuinely, you know, following safety protocols at all times.
Great to hear that, Kevin. What strategies do you use to motivate and manage construction teams, especially when facing tight deadlines?
Well, in terms of motivation, right, it all comes down to how the leader acts. So if the leader acts in a way where, you know, it is inspiring and people want to follow him, then of course the entire crew is going to be motivated.
What's up? All right, appreciate it, bro.
Based on our conversation, we'd like to move you forward to the next step, which is a follow-up call with our general manager. Let me check the calendar for available times. Does Friday or Saturday work better for you?
I think Friday works perfect.
Great. We have available slots on Friday at 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. Which one works best for you?
12 p.m.
Perfect. Let me book that for you. One moment, please. Booking your appointment for Friday at 12 p.m. Please wait a moment while I book your meeting. I have booked your appointment for 12 p.m. on Friday, September 27th. If you want to reschedule, please use the link in your email. Before we wrap up, do you have any questions for us about the role or our company?
That should be it. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, so essentially after the meeting, right, it's basically did every single action that I told you guys about earlier. And then I'll show you guys the calendar booking that I made yesterday because I didn't delete it right here. So as you can see, it booked me into the meeting. Kevin Campos, blah blah, and essentially it added me onto the correct opportunity, which I believe I've been moving it around a little bit. So yeah, it put me on here. So it identified that I fit the criteria, and I booked a follow-up call with them. And then after that, I immediately actually received the appointment confirmation call, because if it's before, let's say before a day, it's going to call me immediately. And then I confirmed that appointment, further allowing me to, go in and have the appointment. So my appointment actually should be right now with them. But thank God it's a fake one. But either way, literally, as you can see right here, this is a perfect example. Look at this. So I don't know if you guys can see that right there, but those are 2 appointment confirmation SMSs that say your appointment with Kevin Campos starts in 10 minutes. And then it gives me the meeting link. It gives me everything that I need for it. Here, I'll show you. It gives me all the information that I need for it, further allowing me to, go in to the meeting and do everything I can. I wish I could show it better, but literally all it gives me is the meeting link, the confirmation link, the rescheduling link, and the cancellation link. So that should be good on that part. Now I want to make sure to address all the questions that you guys may have. Make sure that you take advantage of this time as well. And I'm also going to add my contact information onto here as well, just so you guys have it, if anything, right? And you guys have any problems or anything. And then Discord. What is my Discord? Yeah, that's good. Okay. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. All right, that's good. And then, yeah, that should be it. If you guys have any questions, just make sure to type in the chat right now, and then I'm going to go ahead and answer them. And if you ever want to contact me, here is the way that you can contact me. Okay. So I'm going to add this onto here as well. Copy the link. All right, cool. Now let's go ahead and answer these questions. I think we left off here. Let's see this a lot. Okay, all right, yeah, I just showed you as well. Hopefully that, was good enough. Does estimate work internationally, or would foreign numbers be unable to receive an SMS via Twilio? So Twilio has geo permissions, allowing you to select basically any section internationally. So right now, my phone number actually is from Puerto Rico. So I was able to still receive the SMSs accordingly. You just need to make sure to include that geo permission on there. And now, Alan, hopefully that answers your question, Lewis. Now, Alan, hey, Kevin, I was the one asking about one-on-one help in setting this up. You asked me to DM you. Here's my information. Okay. Alan, I don't know if you're still here or not, but I left my information in the document that I gave you. So if you want, you can reach out to me as well. I'll be on Discord. Now, you can hear it. Awesome. In other words, it fit. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Joshua. Looking forward to it. What's this? Awesome. Unable to get past the screen to create an inbound, outbound, or widget. I get back to the main create screen. That could be a temporary bug, but I think it should be working. But I mean, it worked for me just a second ago. So if anything, DM me about it, and I could go ahead and help you out on it as well, Brian. Because if it's been a month, then yeah, just let me know, and I'll go ahead and help you. Just make sure to DM me through Discord, and I got you. Or at me in the Synthflow chat like this. I'll show you. Oh wait. Yeah, Kevin C. And here I am. Okay, cool. Now, if we're really interested in selling AI voice services, where's the best platform on or YouTube channel to learn GoHighLevel and Synthflow eventually be at a level to understanding like yours? Well, it would be mine. It would be mine. I would say my YouTube channel goes into depth about everything that you kind of need to know here. So I'll show you. I'll leave this in my link right here. There you go. So now you can go over it as well and have that info. So cool. Hopefully that helps. All right, fellas. Well, if there are no longer any other questions, I really hope you guys enjoyed the build. If you guys ever need help with anything, let me know. I'm always here to help. And then from there on out, we take it. Okay. So do you have a paid trainer? What do you mean? Or can you start, Jonathan? I do consulting for stuff like this, but I don't want to, advertise myself here either. So just go ahead and DM me, and then I could go ahead and help you, Jonathan. You have my information, so you can go ahead and get me on there. Just pay more. All right, fellas. Okay, so no longer any questions, and then we should be good. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that. Good to see you, Ellie. Pay more to ignore this. All right, fellas. Okay, so it was fun. All right, you guys have a great one. I will see you guys soon in the next one. All right, peace out.